Hello, my name is Corrine Wilkinson, and I am here to give you a Pear Deck tutorial along with my co-host, Evelyn. She'll introduce herself in momentarily. We both use Pear Deck quite a bit, and we love it for the features that it offers. And so we're going to show you how to set up a Pear Deck account for yourself and how to use it. I'm going to screen share so that you can see our slides, and then we'll go ahead and get started. So here we are at the Pear Deck tutorial, why and how you should use it. So again, I'm Corrine Wilkinson. I'm a science instructional coach with the BPS STEM department, and I've been a middle school science teacher here in Boston for about 10 years. Evelyn?
Nice to meet everyone. My name is Evelyn LaRose. I'm also a science instructional coach. I've been teaching for 4 years, both in Atlanta and internationally, middle and high school sciences.
Awesome. So let's go ahead and get started with our presentation. We did make sure that this meets the objectives of the Returning Boston Strong Professional Learning, as you can see here. Now, as far as our agenda, we're going to start off showing you some of the benefits of Pear Deck. We'll also show you some of the constraints that it has, but there's not many. And then we'll jump right into the logistics, like the nitty-gritty, how to set this up, how to make this, how to add this, how to do that, all of those things, which really are quite easy and very user-friendly. And so we do hope that by the end of this presentation, you will be able to make your own account or make it with us today and begin using it with ease. Now, we'll also have Evelyn hop on and do a live demo, so she'll be able to show you how it looks from a teacher end and how it looks from a student end. Okay, so benefits of Pear Deck. It definitely keeps your students engaged. When I began using it for remote learning, I had more than half of my classes all log in. My students were using it, adding to the lesson. They found it to be really engaging, and they told me this. It promotes a lot of collaborative learning, and it allows the teacher to give feedback and address any misconceptions in the learning. It provides students with the opportunity to perform error analysis, so going back, taking a look at their answers, reworking some of those things, and it doesn't require students to have a login. So there's none of this like, I forgot my login or where do I go? It's really user-friendly for students, and that's a great benefit of it, I find. Super easy to use on the teacher end as well, really easy to create your slides. And then it provides really the greatest feature is the interactive question styles that it offers, and Evelyn will show you those. Now, as far as constraints, there are a few. It's not a grading online platform, so your students will not walk away with a 90%, a 95% from this. It does provide the student answers so that you can give feedback, which I find to be more valuable. There is a slight flaw in some of the icons that are available. Depending on if you have premium level, you get the one, what is the draggable icon. And some of those, it doesn't allow students to like write over someone or to draw over someone's answer. You can only use 5 icons at a time, but I find that 5 is a lot on a slide, so you might really only end up using 1 or 2. This is not a note-taking program, so this is not designed for you to give a lecture and to talk the entire time and to have students take notes along the way. This is completely opposite. This is designed so that almost every slide or every few slides, you're stopping to engage your students in a question, in a response, in how they're feeling about something and what they're wondering. This is really interactive. So that is, that's the counter to this constraint that it's not a note-taking add-on. Internet, of course, it does require the internet. So if a student is at home and they're not getting really good internet connectivity, they will have a little trouble logging in. And so that obviously is there. Okay. So I want to show you actually how to add Pear Deck so that you have it available on your laptop to use. And the instructions are here for you. If you need to view these on your own, we will have the slides available. And so you can always come back and take a look at these. But at this time, I'm going to basically go to the website so that you can get started. So actually, I still do want to share my screen. I apologize for that. And I'm going to just exit out of that. Okay, so I'm at the Pear Deck website, peardeck.com, and I want to create my my login. And so it makes it really easy. You can log in with Google. That's how I do most of my things. It creates it for me. And so I have an account with BPS. I'm going to show you, I'm making my account with my school. It says, hey, are you a teacher? Yes, I am. And then it's asking to get access to all of these Google features, authorized with Google. Go ahead and add that to my email. And like most programs, I am allowing it to access my Google Drive. Awesome. So now I am in. As you can see, I am ready to use it. It's going to bring me here, but I'm already going to click home because I'm ready to go. So let's see here if it allows me. Oh, no. As far as that goes, let me add my school very quickly. Okay, now we are connected to the school, and I think it should allow me now to go ahead and get started. Let's see. Okay, so here I am at the Pear Deck website, and it has a lot of different features. So from the website point of view, this is the main page, and I can create a lesson directly from Pear Deck. But I'm going to show you what I think is an easier way to create a lesson. Okay, so at this time, I'm going to, bear with me, I'm going to log into a different account just because I actually use it from my Boston Public Schools account a lot more, and I have it, many of the features already ready to go. So if you excuse me, here we are. Now, in my Google Drive, I want to make a Pear Deck slide. I want to use it for my classes. I'm ready to go. So I'm going to click New. I'm going to go to Google Slides. And I have my slides ready to go, but where's Pear Deck? And so for that, I need to add Pear Deck. It's not quite added yet. So I'm going to click Add-ons. And you'll see I have it here, but you can go ahead and click Get Add-ons. And when you click Get Add-ons, it has it right there for you, Pear Deck. If you don't see it, go ahead and type it into the search bar. And again, it has it for you. Now, in my case, it shows that it's already installed, but in your situation, you would actually click on this and have it install for you. Once you have it installed and you go to add-ons, you'll have this feature now, Pear Deck for Google Slides add-on. And this allows me to now use Pear Deck linked with my Google Slides. So I'm going to go ahead and click Open Pear Deck. And what you see here is what pops up on the right-hand side of the screen. And so this is where I use most of the features of Pear Deck. It has here Start Lesson. I'm not ready to start my lesson. I don't have anything on my slides. And so there's a number of options that I can choose from to actually get going with that. Evelyn is going to show you how to use these specific features, which are awesome. But I want to show you what Pear Deck provides for you. Excuse me, I have a little baby here with me, and he's trying to get himself adjusted. I want to show you what Pear Deck offers you in terms of some of the tools they have available. So our template library, they have some really awesome slides that are pre-made for you. And it's best to just show you so you get a sense. So these would be ideal for the beginning of a lesson. If I click on this one, it's going to add it to my slide, as you can see. Now in this case, it says, what do you wonder about today's topic? Well, I can change that to whatever I want it to be. I can change it to, what do you wonder about yesterday's topic? So these are fully editable slides, fully editable. I might want to put in a slide that they made for me during the lesson to have a quick check-in. So let's see here. Drag your dot to show how you're feeling right now. I clicked, I think that would be great. I want to make sure my students are following what I'm teaching, and boom, it's already made for me. And so my students would see this on their screen. Again, I can edit this however I want. I can edit this, I can edit this, and I can edit this. So they give you the slides, but they also give you the availability to change it for yourself. And then end of the lesson, these are also awesome. I'm gonna let you take a look at those yourself, because I really wanna get to the critical thinking and the social emotional learning slides as well. So critical thinking slides, they ask the students, again, these are just prompts. You do not have to use these, and you might wanna make it more for yourself. So in looking at some of these, let's take a look at the draw conclusions slide. I've just presented information. I want my students to analyze it and draw some conclusions, and I clicked it, so it's added. Again, fully editable with what I would like. And then the social emotional. These are gonna be really great to have those moments for students to kind of stop, think, not get overwhelmed, not get too stressed about this, and really make sure that they're in a space that they can still continue to learn with you remotely. And so I put in a slide that has them stop, do a stress check, and think about, hey, where am I in terms of following along with the lesson today? These are here for you to take a look at and use at your leisure. So just know that those are there. There's also the subject area. So these are more specific. They have it for grades K-2. So really the younger kids, it's friendly. It has math questions, it has science, it has social studies, world languages, and of course, ELA. And so when you take a look at what they offer, it might be that you want the Venn diagram, but you want to change what is having the students compare. We'll click on it. It's now added in, and now I can change it to what I want my students to think about, okay? So that's some of the great features that I really love about Pear Deck. Now, when I go back to the Pear Deck website, I want to show you where these lessons are. So I've obviously made all these slides here. I have it as my sample. And I want to know, well, where are they? Like, I just made it. Is it ready for me to use? And so one of the cool things about Pear Deck is that it does store these for you. And so you can see this literally was the slide that I had. If I were to click on this, it's ready to go to use for my students. I can view it in Google Drive. I can edit it and say, hey, there's a couple things I want to work on. And we can see there it is once again, all of those slides that I had. So Pear Deck is ready for you to use it. They also have up here in the sessions, it stores all of your sessions. So once you've taught your lesson, it creates a file to store them for you. If lessons are older than 30 days, it archives them, but it doesn't delete them. And so you can go back at any time. And so you can see here, I've done DNA, I've done genetics, I've taught about genes making proteins. I did all this with my students back in May and was able to get really great gains with learning and engagement during the remote learning time in the spring. At this time, I'm going to pass it on over to my colleague, Evelyn, who's going to show you some of the features that you add in to create your own questions. So I'm going to stop my screen share. And Evelyn, I'm going to toss it over to you.
Thank you, Kareen. So we're going to take a look at how you actually create these awesome interactive slides, as well as how do you get your students to join these presentations. So I'm going to share my screen. So I created a practice slide for us to work our way through this. So the first thing we're gonna do is whatever slide you have, I recommend that you make your slides first and then add the interactive feature after. It's really quick and easy to do. So just really quick, if you don't remember how to get this Pear Deck window to open, once you've installed it, Kareen showed you where to go to get that add-on. You will go to add-on, Pear Deck, open Pear Deck add-on, and that's how you get this side window here on the right. So let's look at the 6 question styles, and then you'll get to see what it looks like from student view. So let's say I wanted to ask students a multiple choice question. The slide I want to add that feature on, I would actually click on choice. Once I click on choice, I would actually have the option to fill in what the multiple choice options are. I choose to put my questions on the slide itself. That way, when I get here, I just put A, B, C, D, etc., or true, false, whatever it is that I need. So this is doing its thing. You'll know that the interactive feature was successfully added when you see this small pear icon at the bottom of your slide. Do not delete this. So the first time I used Pear Deck, I was like, I don't want this here, and I deleted it. If you remove that, it also removes the interactive feature. So you have to leave the cute little icon there. Like Kareen told you before, as a constraint, Pear Deck doesn't grade. So a recommendation is once you create your slides and your questions, duplicate the slide and put the correct answer on the second slide. Okay, so that's my recommendation. So for my math teachers, or if you just ask students a question that has a numerical value, you have the option to do number. So we're going to give it a second. We're going to let it do its thing. Update slide. All right, so once again, I would put the correct answer on the following slide. Maybe you want students to read text. Another really cool thing that Pear Deck has is add audio to slide. So I love this feature, especially for ELL students. Maybe if a student is absent and you make these slides available on your Google Classroom or something like that, you can add audio to the slide and record your voice for students. Or maybe if you have students who are silent processors in the same classroom with students who need to be read aloud to, you can hit record your voice. You have the option of deleting, re-recording it. You can save it, add it to the slide. So maybe you can have some students reading independently, silently, and then your students who need to be read aloud to can have headsets on listening to the reading. So I think that's a really awesome feature. All right, so let's say you have kids read this passage and you want them to share their thoughts on what they think the main idea is. You actually want them to type out and text out their thoughts. You have an option to do text as an interactive feature. So we're gonna select that, update the slide, and you'll see it's pretty easy to do. All right, so let's say one of our features is draw. So draw is really awesome. You'll get to see it from student view. They can highlight, they can circle things. They have all sorts of tools in the application. I would hit draw. I'm gonna update the slide. Hopefully you're getting the hang of adding these interactive features. All right, so the next interactive feature I'm gonna show you is draggable. I think draggable would be really cool for social studies, or you can use it in other classes as well. I'm just thinking about geography and maps. Okay, so here's the thing about draggable. you can decide what type of icon you want students to use. So you have these different options, and you can add multiple icons as well. So you have a limit of, I believe, 5 icons that you can add. So because I have a map, I'm gonna use the pin. You have these different color options. If I wanted to add other ones, I could add more colors if I wanted to. If I wanted to tell students put one pin in this area, another somewhere else. But let me just do one for now. You also have the choice of making the icon larger or smaller for students, depending on what you have on your image. The only thing that I do not like about Draggable is it doesn't let you drag, let's say, a photo on the slide. So you can only drag the icons that it gives you the options for. So I added that. The last interactive feature we're going to talk about is website. So what website lets you do is it lets you literally copy and paste a link to a website you want students to engage in. It's really awesome if maybe you want students to listen to a video on YouTube independently and then do a turn-in talk. It's really great if you want to use it to, let's say, have students look at an animation. So I use it for some different things like that. Looks like this animation feature isn't working, but let's say you just had some YouTube video you wanted them to watch. You can put whatever link to the website and just make sure it shows. So for whatever reason, it's not letting YouTube connect, but you can add, I've used it for different animations. You can add it there, hit update slide. Let that do its thing. Okay, so now we have all of these interactive features. Now we're gonna look at actually presenting and what it looks like for students to join your presentation. So all you would have to do is click Start Lesson. And it's gonna take a little bit of time. You have options. You can do student paste, or you can do instructor paste. So when you do student paste, they can move at their own leisure. If you do instructor paste, students cannot advance on the slides before you. So it depends on what your goal is for your presentation. If this is something you want students to do on their own, choose student paste. But if you're actually doing a lesson, introduction to new material, and you have interactive slides to do check for understanding, I would do instructor paste so students don't advance before you. So once you select your style, it takes a little second to create this interactive presentation. So we're gonna give it a second. This is where the internet piece becomes critical. All right. So sometimes it'll time out and re-ask you for permission. So as long as you give it permission, you're good to go. So now it created my interactive presentation. So in order to get students to join this presentation, all they have to do is go to joinpd.com. It'll always be joinpd.com. Each interactive presentation has its own unique code. So all students have to do is go to this website, enter this code, and they'll join this presentation. So I'm actually going to stop sharing for a moment. I'm going to have Kareen show you what it looks like from student view to join the presentation, okay? So Kareen, if you could, I'm going to make you host. If you could go open up a tab and go to joinpd.com, and sure I'm gonna put the code for you in the chat.
Okay. So why don't I do a screen share? So here I am. I'm ready to go to that slide. Or I'm ready to go to, sorry, joinpd.com. Joinpd.com. So here I am, and I want to put in the code. Evelyn, if you don't mind telling me the code, just because I can't access the chat really easily right now.
No problem. It is A. T, X,
X,
H.
H.
Mhm.
All right, so I put in my code. I'm the student in Miss Evelyn's class, and there it is. While we're waiting for things to get started, how are you feeling today? That's just there. Wow, so I see as a student exactly what my teacher, Miss Evelyn, has created.
Awesome, thank you for that. So I'm gonna go ahead and reclaim post.
Okay.
All right, so what I like is once students joined the presentation, there's a count at the bottom for you. So I had Kareem join and I also joined on my device. I also like to look at this and use this to positively narrate. So I could say, thank you, Kareem, for joining, or 50% of the class is connected, and so on. And it just kind of helps me gauge if I'm ready to start my lesson or not. So when you're ready to start and all your kids have joined, even if all of your kids haven't joined, you can go ahead and hit start class. What I love about Pear Deck is the code is still at the top of the screen. So even if students come to class late or join your Zoom call late, they can still have access to the code and join late at a later time. All right, so here's our first interactive question that we made multiple choice. So I'm gonna have Kareem take a second to show you, this is teacher view or presenter view of the question in the presentation, how this interactive feature looks like for the student.
Okay.
All right.
I'm going to share my screen as the student. This is what I would see if I were the student in Miss Evelyn's class. So I see the question that she wrote. I see my answer choices that she wrote. And what I additionally see that is not on Miss Evelyn's screen are the answer choices. And so I can go ahead and interact with it from there. Is that okay, Evelyn?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Awesome. All right, back to you.
All right, so from the teacher end, once a student submits a response, it also shows me the number of responses at the bottom. You also have an option to lock responses. So you can also lock your responses if you need to. So you can also set timer on your responses if you would like to. So let's say I put a countdown, we're back in 10 seconds, I can lock. And when I lock, students can no longer change their answer choice. They can no longer modify their response, and it locks the interactive feature on the slide for them. Now, when I'm ready to look at the student responses, I would hit show responses. So what I love about Pear Deck is you get real-time feedback, real-time data, right? So I'd very quickly be able to see, whether how many students selected what answer choice, and go over any misconceptions if students are lost, or if I see an overwhelming amount of the class got the incorrect answer. And again, I made the recommendation to put the correct answer on the following slide. All right, so let's say I have a question that's a math question for students to answer. Okay, so let me show you how, if you just have and this is for if the answer, the response you want from students is only a numerical value. So no text or letters, but if you want just a numerical value. So I'm gonna show you how this interactive feature looks like from student view. All right, Kareem, could you show what that looks like from student view?
I sure can. I'm pulling it up for you right now. Okay. So as Evelyn pointed out, this is the slide that she's showing the class. And then again, on my student screen, this is where I can enter the answer. So I would read, obviously, I would read it, interact with it, and then I would go ahead and put in my answer.
All right, awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so now let's see how student responses would look with this feature. So it creates a number line for student responses. And if there's multiple responses, so a classroom full of students, you would see a more intense red, like multiple dots in the same location. This way you can very quickly look at the data and notice outliers. You would very quickly be able to see if like all of the class chose 10 and then one random student picked something else. You could very quickly be able to identify that. All right, so let's say you wanted students to read a passage. You also have audio that you can add to the slides, so that's an option. So you would have students read this paragraph silently or listen to the audio. And let's say you wanted them to type you text response. So what do you think the main idea is for this passage? So you will see what text response looks like from student view. All right, so Kareen will let you see what that looks like.
Of course. Okay, so here I am. What was the main idea of the passage? And in this case, since it's a text or text-based answer, you see it has an answer box for me to type, for me to type my answer in. Excuse me, so I'll go ahead and I'll just put type my answer here since I didn't get a chance to read it as quickly as I hoped. Typed my answer.
All right.
And I'm done with the class.
All right, awesome. So now on the teacher end, what does that look like when you show student responses? So when I show responses, you have the option of seeing responses in a list. You also have the option of looking at answers in a grid. I usually look at it in a grid because if there's multiple responses, it just takes a while to scroll through all of them. So another tip is I usually like to call out one exemplar and maybe one response that we could work on and tweak to make better together. I do like the responses are anonymous, so it builds in academic risk culture where students don't feel like, scared of getting the wrong answers. You'll see over time they'll get confident and start putting their name at the bottom of their responses, or if they didn't understand something over time, they'll be able to feel comfortable sharing like, hey, I didn't get this. The one you picked was my response, or you didn't pick my response and I got something similar to someone else. So I think this is an amazing thing to look at. All right, so our next question style is draw. So I want you to see what all of the draw options that students get to see. So Kareen's gonna show you all of the draw features.
Okay. Awesome, this looks so cool. So as a student, I am really looking at all of this, seeing what can I do with this, which is a really cool engagement feature about it. Which of the following is a compound? Circle all that apply. So you can see here, I can choose my color that I would like. My favorite color is magenta. So I've chosen that as my color. I can choose the way that I want my answer to appear. So as a pencil, as a highlighter, as a line, as text, or if I need to erase it, and I'll just show you that too. I'm gonna go ahead and click highlighter. And so it's gonna be a little thicker in terms of what it's showing. So I will go ahead and circle that. Oh, it's not magenta. I wanted it magenta. So let me do my eraser. Now, of course, students might get very technical with this. And so as a teacher, go ahead and encourage them. It's okay. Just go ahead and put that in. Now I've got it to magenta. I have my beautiful magenta color here, and I've selected my answer, and I'm all done with this.
All right, awesome.
Okay, Evelyn?
So let's take a look at what these responses look like for the teacher. So I have my students, draw, selecting a compound. This one, when you show response, it shows you each student's individual response. So you can scroll through that. You also have grid layout. It might be quicker and easier. So you can just very quickly see student responses and and give them real-time feedback. All right, so now we're gonna look at draggable. Let's look at the draggable feature. So I'm gonna stop sharing and Karine will show you what the draggable options look like from student view.
Sure. So again, here's the slide. Now, just to add, it automatically transferred to this next slide. I didn't have to press anything as a student, and that's because Evelyn is using this as the instructor pace. So it automatically transferred to this. Now it says, what region are you from? And then drag the icon. So there's the icon right here. And I have it, and I'm dragging it over. I actually am from Seattle, so I'm gonna click right here and drop it off in the Pacific Northwest. There you go, Evelyn.
Thank you. So now we're gonna see what the data for draggable looks like from the teacher's end. So if I hit show responses, draggable actually shows all student responses all on one slide. So depending on what you have kids doing, it could look overwhelming, but in this case, it looks really, really good. All right, so the last interactive feature that we are going to look at is website. So this one allows students to interact with an animation or a video or anything you would like students to look at. So I didn't have I couldn't find an animation really quick for them to play around with, but hopefully you're getting familiar. So this is the only interactive feature that does not have data because it's students engaging with a website. So this is the only one that does not have data for you to look at. So now I'm going to show you the last thing that's super cool for teachers is a data analysis feature that students can engage with. So what I'm gonna do, Karine, I'm gonna end this presentation, and could you let me see what's on your slide? There should be an option when you end a presentation that it should ask students to select their Gmail, and I'll show you why that is a cool feature. So I'm gonna hit end. When I hit end, it gives me a chance to name it. I'm gonna name it practice, save and end session. All right, Karine, is it giving you an option on your end that's asked you for your Gmail? Or not yet?
Let me take a look.
Oh, here we go, not quite yet. So it says publish your takeaways. So do you see the option where it asks for your Gmail?
I don't see that yet.
Okay.
It's still on the last slide, so.
Okay, so it looks like it's taking
one more
time. Okay, so it also gives you the option to share the session on Google Classroom, so it's integrated with Google Classroom and Google Suite. Now is it showing that option for you?
Unfortunately, no, it's not showing that, but I do know that it can be accessed. Oh, wait, one moment. I think it did a quick update. Let me see.
No problem.
Okay, so.
It's showing on your end now?
What it's showing is it's saying your teacher has ended this lesson. How did it go?
Okay, so
and it gives
out survey.
Giving me a thumbs up or a thumbs down.
Mm-hmm. And then when you're done with the survey, does it prompt you for your Gmail by any chance?
No, it doesn't seem to do that in this particular option.
Okay, so it might do it automatically, but once you end a session and you select the option to publish a session like I showed you, what it does is it automatically emails students a Google Doc to the Gmail account that they're logged into at the time of when they join the presentation. And what I like about this Google Doc, it looks like this. This is a sample from one of my previous lessons. It would actually have the student name there, but I removed it for confidentiality. But what I like is it will have all of the slides from your lesson. It will also have all of students' responses on any interactive features. So during this presentation, this was an interactive slide. It shows students what their responses were. It also has a box, an empty box beside it that students can type into and take notes. So what I like about this is you can use this to help students perform error analysis. So let's say a student didn't do so great on an exit ticket from that lesson that day. You can have them go back, look at their responses. I made a recommendation earlier to put the correct answer choices or the correct answers to the questions on a following slide so that they can go back and look at this. They can leave notes for you and share the doc with you and say, hey, I looked back through all my responses. These are the things I still have questions about. Or, no, I understand now. Once we went through the lesson and you talked about X, Y, and Z, I left myself a note and I was able to do that. So I think this is really good for students to take autonomy over their learning and do error analysis and do the work of figuring out what's going on and still partnering with you if they need it. So I'm gonna stop sharing and you're gonna close us out, Kareen?
Yes, I will. So we have gone over quite a bit. Hopefully you got most of that we were able to offer. And if you weren't able to get all of that, the Pear Deck website is an incredible resource. It's very user-friendly. It has tons of videos to show. I'm gonna share my screen with you now so that you can see, so I can just go to Pear Deck. And I'd like to go right here to, I'll go to help. So this is one way I can access a lot of the different offerings that they have. I'm also going back to the home page and I can see, sorry, remote learning resources. And so when I click on that, they're ready to go. They're ready to help you. They're ready to get you started in the easiest way possible. And they have right here about halfway down, quick tip videos. And so you can click start watching. And what it does is it pulls up, I think they have 17, 18 different videos that are 3 minutes or less that show you how to do a certain feature. So what is student pace mode? How to capture teachable moments on the fly, how to give personalized notes. This was something it kind of goofed on us when we did it, but it is a feature that they include. Inviting your students to join your session. We definitely had a chance to show you that. Adding audio, giving teacher feedback. Again, that we weren't able to show that, but they are ready to go with this on Pear Deck. So it's an awesome, awesome website. Check it out, make your account, and enjoy what they offer. So we are just about done with this presentation. If you would like to reach out to myself or Evelyn with any questions that you have, we are more than happy to help you. We are more than happy to walk you through a certain feature, guide you to wherever you need to do to get you started with Pear Deck. We find it to be incredibly useful. We also use a whole number of other tools, so we don't rely on Pear Deck solely alone as our remote learning tool. There's so many great things out there, but we do find that Pear Deck is great for when we want to have interactive slides. And just to remind you, now that we have reached the end, go ahead and complete your exit ticket by going to this website. And it says, in order to receive PDPs or professional development hours for this session, they do need you to complete the exit ticket. We hope that you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching and have a great time exploring Pear Deck. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.